Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. The MLB at Field of Dreams returns. Bryce Harper and the Philadelphia Phillies face Byron Buxton and the Minnesota Twins at the iconic Field of Dreams ballpark. The field is calling. Watch the MLB at Field of Dreams game live on Netflix Thursday, August 13th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific.
All right, welcome back to the Survival and Basic Badass Podcast with Kevin and Chuck. Today we're going to talk about all things fishing. Now,
Fishing.
who even knew fishing was a prepper skill?
A survival skill
A
indeed.
survival skill indeed. So,
Now,
Kevin, you know about the history of fishing?
I was looking into it.
Now, wasn't it Jesus in some kind of
Oh, it
boat?
goes way
Peter?
back.
It goes back before Peter.
Yeah, they found a body of a guy in China they call Tin Yan Man.
Tin Yan
40,000
Man.
years ago.
All right.
Homo sapien. Now, I know that a lot of you guys believe that the Earth is only 6,000 years old and Jesus buried dinosaur bones to test your faith. But Tin Yan Man is 40,000 years old.
Okay.
And they said they can tell from his body that he frequently ate freshwater fish. A high source of his protein is freshwater fish.
All right.
So mankind has basically been doing fishing,
Some type of fishing.
yeah, for forever.
I gotta say, when it comes to catching food, fishing seems to be one of the easier,
Yeah, especially if you can set things up
and there are no
that can
rules.
catch the fish
Right.
while you sleep.
Right.
Now, I wanted to talk
We
first
can
about.
also catch squirrels that way. I'm just saying. There's some, but we'll get into that later.
I wanted to talk about hand gathering fishing.
Okay.
Now, that's generally, when you talk about hand gathering, you're generally talking about oysters, scallops, clams, things like that.
Mussels. Now, when I was a kid, Long Island Sound, we used to walk around the beach and you'd stomp and you look for water to squirt up.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'd dig down and sure enough, there'd be mussels in there. And that was the trick. Is that what we're talking about here?
Absolutely.
Or catching
Digging
our
up-
crawfish,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
crayfish for you
That's right.
Yankees.
Now, another form of hand gathering now that's in there is noodling. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar
That's
with
getting
it.
a little too
The
familiar.
the southern guys, I think, probably have an understanding what that is.
All
But it's
right.
basically hand catching catfish. So catfish live in designated holes, you know? So all you got to do is once you can locate one of those holes, you just slide your hand in there and grab it by the gills.
Just
and-
slide it in.
And hopefully nothing bad is in there. Hopefully it's just a catfish. Now, there's some form of this is legal in pretty much just southern states.
Okay.
So Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia, Louisiana, Illinois, Kansas, Kentucky, Maryland, Mississippi, North Carolina, South Carolina, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Wisconsin, New York, and New Jersey, not on the list.
Pretty much anything you want to do in New York, unless you're sending Cuomo a check,
Yeah, it's
you're
against
not
the
allowed
law.
to do it.
So when it comes to hand fishing, it's really an art. It's not something that if you've never done before, or noodling. When it comes to noodling,
Now-
if you've never done it before, then I would not
Is
recommend.
a snapping turtle going to take a finger off when I stick my hand in the hole?
It's considered to be a dangerous practice, and you're supposed to do it with at least two people, because maybe a
I like
snapping
my
fish will take your
fingers.
finger off.
That's what I think about it. Snapping turtles are scary. And if you're just poking around in any old place, no, I see people do it. And, I see the girl out in the bikini and whatever, and she sticks her hand in there and comes out with a freaking 25-pound catfish on her arm. And is like, yeah. And I'm like, no.
It takes it's a little ballsy. It's a little ballsy way to go about it. And if you don't know how to do it, then that's not going to feed you during the apocalypse.
I feel like I can one-up you. Now, you're saying noodling is maybe how you would do it. Now, I would tell you there's a fishing technique called striking iron.
What is that?
I thought you might ask. It turns out that people will take a long metal pole and large, slow-moving fish, catfish, koi fish, that kind of thing. Just as the name suggests, you whack them with the giant pipe on the head.
All right.
And scoop them up.
It's like spearfishing if you're really bad at it.
Yeah, but with blunt objects.
All right.
I didn't know that was a thing until I started researching this.
Okay.
But I got you. What else you got? What's your next method?
Well, let's talk about net fishing.
Okay.
There's a lot of different types of net fishing. A lot of it commercial use. Bottom trawling, that's basically a boat with drag a net along the bottom. Cast net, that would be a net that you would have that would have weights on it. You just throw it out.
I think
over
that's
the
what they were doing in the Bible movies.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a movie, Paul, coming out. I don't know if they're going to have it, but you throw a net and they stand on the boat.
Cast out your nets. All right. Drag net.
You didn't like all the Bible references on scaring off?
Well, let's see. When the movie comes out, we'll talk about it.
Droves here. All right.
Dragnet, that's basically just dragging the net behind your boat. Now, a fike net. That's not really, I wouldn't really consider it a net. I'd consider it more of a trap. But it is a net. It's basically a funnel-shaped net that's real long and runs horizontally along the bottom of a stream. You might set it up, and then you can gather it up at the end of the day, or in the morning if you set it up at night. Most of these nets are made out of gill net, which is designed to catch a fish by its gills. That way it can't go, can't push through and it can't back out. So it's basically it's trapped there. Now I want to talk real quick about seine nets. That's it's spelled S-E-I-N-E.
Okay.
Seine net, it's basically a horizontal net. You post up on either side of a stream, and just it goes horizontally across. Now, a lot of people do this in tidal areas. Set it up so that the top of the net is at the top of the high tide.
Right.
And so, with each tide that goes out, you can go out and check your net and, re-secure it if it needs to be. And basically that involves, once you set it up, that involves very little maintenance and very little work. You can basically set the net up and just go and inspect it every day. If you don't have ocean near you, you can illegally set this up in streams.
Now we're talking about, 90% of what we're talking about, well, at least the first half of this podcast, is stuff that you're doing after the apocalypse when people are starving to death.
Or if you're
these
lost
are
and you're hoping
life and
somebody
death
catches you breaking the law.
Situations where, we're not talking about normal. We would never suggest
not a Sunday afternoon
that you go outside the rules, especially in the great state of New York.
Now, do you want to get into trapping, or do you want to...
Oh, no, I have one I want to dump on you.
All right, let's hear it.
Now, I was perusing the interwebs.
Okay.
Searching it out, and I came across fish poisoning.
All right.
Now, I was like, this is peculiar. Now, they at first were vague, and they were like, some people drug the fish and then collect them. And I'm like, well, that's odd. And it didn't suggest. It said, well, people use different things to drug the fish in their area.
Right.
However...
Now, any place in the United States, this is very illegal.
I don't know. We'll find out. So, maybe other people live outside
A lot of people do live
the
outside
communist
of the United States.
state of New York, I mean. But anyway, so they said you might want to throw walnut shells in large quantities.
Okay.
Will drug the fish. And they will float to the top. You may also want to collect a bunch of seashells and burn them. And this will create lime. You crush up the seashells, you burn them up, and it creates lime, and you put the lime in the water.
Really?
That'll do it. Now, I thought these are obscure, fringe, crazy people.
Uh-huh.
Then I opened up my SAS manual. And it turns out in the SAS Survival Handbook, they have a section called Fish Narcotics. And I was like, well, maybe I don't know what they're talking about. But it says, in many parts of the world, fishermen use local plants to poison or stupefy fish. I didn't even know stupefy was a word.
That's
it's
a
in
word.
here.
Yep.
And not how I would have spelled it either. So I feel like I've really gone awry here. And it'll make the fish come to the surface where they're easy to collect. This works best in a deep pool where one end can be dammed to contain the fish. But the method is only effective in slack water, like a stagnant pond area.
Right.
And you're going to kill everything in it, and you got to open it back up to the fresh area to, let the new fish come in and be able to try this move more than once.
All right.
Now, SAS manual actually had a bunch of plants we can use to drug fish.
All right.
That are going to be okay for us. There's something called the Daris plant found in Southeast Asia and Australia. The Barringtonius trees found in the same area as the Daris. Desert roses found in tropical and southern Africa and in parts of Arabia.
I think you've now mentioned every place outside of Australia where nobody that listens to this podcast lives.
Let me tell you about the soap plant, which
right.
can be found in Western North America.
All right. Now
Ace
we're
in
talking.
the hole, motherfucker. And then goat's rue, which is also grows on open ground in North America. So I'll let you guys look into that if that's something you're interested in. I just wanted you to know there's alternatives. I hate to give you a podcast episode and not give you some new knowledge, something you never heard of. Because if I just tell
Fish
you
poisoning.
you put the worm on the freaking hook and you throw it on the bobber, you put a little weight on there, you're going to be like, dude, I already knew that.
Right. There's no point in us telling you about how to use a fishing pole.
I ain't going to tell you what you
'Cause
already
if you're a
know.
grown woman or a grown man and you don't know how to use a fishing pole, you're listening to the wrong podcast. You need to back up a little bit and
All
start with
right.
some basic knowledge. Well, we'll get into that a little bit, though.
And we are going to get into some basic knowledge. But, all right, what else you got?
Well,
Trapping, you said.
Trapping, yeah. I was thinking about fish trapping. And, I've never actually trapped fish. I've never attempted it. I've seen fish traps. I've had friends that have used them.
We used to use minnow traps when we were kids.
Minnow
and the
traps,
same
sure.
for crawfish.
Yep. But there's definitely some interesting ideas here. Dam fishing, which
Okay.
they do in South America. And basically what they'll do is they'll just build a big dam in the middle of the water, and then as the water downstream flows away and subsides and gets shallower, they can just walk along and pick all the fish up.
I like it.
So I thought that was pretty interesting. It just involves you building a dam,
That sounds like work.
Yeah, it does sound like work.
I don't like work, but you said you had some beavers we might be able to employ?
Yeah, well, I was thinking about blast fishing also, so maybe I can take care of,
Alright.
two things at once there.
Now, speaking of blast fishing, before we move on, you mentioned that it's not quite as effective as once thought.
Yeah. Apparently, when you throw a stick of dynamite or even an M80 into a lake,
Okay.
90% of the fish that you kill just float to the bottom.
Ooh.
So you're basically taking out all the fish and only getting 10% of the fish.
And they're not getting
back.
in my belly.
Right. They're all dying, but you only get to eat 10% of them.
Yeah, I don't like the sound of that.
I mean, it sounds like a lot of fun.
It does.
but not in the pond by my house. Maybe in the pond by somebody else's house. All right.
All right. Now, trapping. I did have a little more. You have any more on that?
Yeah, I got
okay.
Basket weir traps.
Okay.
It's basically two wicker cones, so the fish can get in and not get back out, or have a hard time getting their way back
right.
out.
Kind of funnels them in, kind of
Yeah.
like a squirrel climbing through a snare.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
another
those,
one-
yeah, you think about think like a soda bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And you imagine the minnow that's just the right size for that opening. He goes in, no, it's kind of funnels him right out on a soda bottle, but you kind of make like a little collar or something on the inside where they're not going to be able to, without poking themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then they end up just swimming around in a circle.
Right. There you go. Now, a fishing weir. This is something I've never heard of before.
Well,
But apparently it's pretty...
there's a show, I think,
thing.
Mountain Men. One of these shows, I don't know, had some guy who was an eel fisherman.
Mm-hmm.
And he had an eel weir.
Okay.
And it's the same principle of basically the majority of the water coming through the creek, you funnel it so that it shoots it into one trough. And the way he had it worked is it basically pushes the eels so that they end up where they're just laying on on the board because they get funneled into one spot and then it just keeps dropping them through channels. So imagine I make like a bathtub, right? So it funnels them so they all slide over a waterfall kind of into a bathtub. Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to make a second stage so it fills up and then they go through the next tube, which with eels, he had it so they were going through little pipe tubes. Mm-hmm. And then it would go over like a cage. Mm-hmm. And so water falls right through, but the big eel hits the cage and then they're stuck.
Right.
So I'd imagine you're doing the same type of thing. That's what a weir is.
Yeah, weir fishing is basically what they want to do here is a V shape, right?
Right.
But it would be fencing, so the water could flow through.
But
the
it
fish,
funnels.
Yeah, the fish could only go one
now
direction.
It was smooth boards, so it's more natural, and you're not beating up the fish, I
Right.
guess is the idea. But it's also pretty involved. Laying in some chicken wire sounds pretty easy. Mm-hmm. I mean, really, if you just ran chicken wire across the creek, and then you still want to funnel them, because otherwise
Right.
they're going to
They're all
eventually
over the
be
place.
strong enough to swim back and whatever. It's not going to work out.
Right.
But if you can channel them in, even with chicken wire, you could really score some big fish. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think fish traps and fish nets are the way to go if you're really counting on the fish to survive.
Yeah.
If you're counting on that
Right.
as your food
If you're a
source,
sportsman,
Right.
not the way to go.
yeah. I mean,
If
as
you're
far
like,
as
I want dinner
being ethical,
and I'm going to die,
right?
that this is the way to go.
Exactly.
Spear fishing. You want to look for shallow water, or are we still more traps? Did I
No,
cut you off?
spear fishing.
Spear fishing. Now, a lot of the guys, it depends on the fish you're going after. Mm-hmm. So, one, good luck trying to spear a bass or something like that. You're going to have a time. Like a big bass sitting there in shallow water, yeah, you probably pull it off. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, these are your things like carp and catfish and things you can see. Mm-hmm. Good luck finding a catfish just sitting around that's not buried in the mud or whatever.
Right.
But, you know, if you get in there stomping around and can chase them to one end of the pond and work it out.
Now, if you're just spear fishing in shallow water, you're gonna want something with multiple
Like a
spikes on it. Yep. The trident was famous for that's
Oh, it
where it
turns
came
out
from.
that's what they
That's
used.
why Neptune had that.
I thought the Navy SEALs just used it to poke each other in the butt.
No,
that's a different thing.
No. Well, I mean, it's the same thing, but that's not what it's originally used
Oh,
for.
okay. Because they were like, "Oh, this is all right."
Now, I know a lot of you guys probably have done bow fishing before. Me personally, I'm not talented enough with a bow to actually be capable of doing that.
I'm pretty good with a bow, but I gotta say I've never done bow fishing, and it fascinates me. Mm-hmm. I'm really interested in getting into that. I've seen guys do it with a recurve, which I try and stick to recurve. It just makes me feel better as a man with a recurve bow. I can, a compound bow, it's easier if anything, and whatever. And I've played with them, and I ran archery ranges in the Boy Scouts and different things. But there's just something about a nice recurve bow that makes you feel like, I'm like a pioneer or something, And, but you still, if you're not doing a 50-pound, you're not taking deer, or 60 or whatever pound recurve. So you got to think about that. You probably get away with a little less on the, but basically the way that works, your arrows typically, again, in shallow water, you could use a regular bow, probably use regular arrows, and you probably score a fish and it'll work out. But the cool thing, the way they set up bow fishing is 90% of them are compound bows. They'll rig up with a spool of wire that connects to your arrow, and you end up with a nice blade on the end of it, and is almost like a fish hook on the end of your arrows. And it's just split out wide where it's got forks that grab on the way back, so he's not wiggling out of it. And you just drop it and drag him back in. It's awesome. I see guys doing it, and it looks like the most fun you could have. I don't know. It's something I would definitely like to look into, and I think if I had a prepper compound with a creek or something, that's something I'd want to have. But again, being able to set up these traps that we were talking about really are your solution for long-term survival.
Right.
And what's cool is you can cut off pretty much anybody else downstream after you. They're going to be like, oh, the fish dried up. I don't get it.
And if you have no experience spearfishing and this is your chance to catch dinner, you're probably going to go hungry. It's not something you can learn in 15 minutes.
You can if you're dealing with 8 inches of water. But otherwise, and like Kevin said, the key is a fork. The multiple prongs. So, whatever. But yeah, that's not something you just walk into typically.
Yeah.
Now, pretty much if you can't catch a squirrel with a spear, it's kind of like the same thing, trying to catch a fish.
Now, there's modern spear guns now. They're pretty...
that's a different story.
Pretty capable. Now, most of the time with spear guns, you're gonna be swimming underwater, either with a snorkel, with a tank, or just free diving. And if you can hold your breath for 3 or 4 minutes, you might be able to pull this off.
You might be able to go down with a net.
I had a friend from Jamaica that he spent his childhood doing this free diving, and he said they would build their own harpoon guns out of bungee cords, and he said he did pretty good on it. Did pretty good at it. The outlet's running off the island out to the ocean is where he would go for it.
I had a friend who was in the Navy, was stationed in Bermuda, and Bermuda, the island, is surrounded by a giant reef. And I guess, again, this is what he's told me. I don't know. I haven't been there. I haven't read enough books. I don't really know. But the reef completely surrounds the island, and so there's no sharks in the water around the island because they're all outside the reef because they were all killed by people, whatever. So what happens is the tide, when the tide comes out, the sharks and everything just sit and wait for these holes for all the fish coming out
to run out through,
and they sit and they chomp on everything. But same thing happens when the tide's coming in. A lot of fish and stuff come through these openings, and what he told me is they would go out and the lobsters would sit at these openings, and you could watch, and they would be sitting there with their antennas looking up, waiting for the stuff to come through and grab them, and they'd just come in and scoop them all up. Now, he also had some kind of insight about you watch for, he goes, whenever you approach a lobster, usually their antennas will be pointing at you. And he goes, whenever you see the lobster that they only have one pointing at you and one is pointed in another direction, that means there's another predator in another direction that's as scary or more scary. He said his experience has been he'll go to grab the lobster and an eel goes to grab his hand. has been how that plays out with the mixed antenna. You want to watch for that. That's a secret of the pros right there.
All right.
Just thought I'd throw that out.
Yeah, eels are natural predators of lobsters. And I only know that because I used to have a roommate that had a saltwater fish tank that he had eels in.
And lobsters?
Well, I went out shopping one day, and they had the lobsters right there in the tank.
They were on sale.
So I brought them home and threw them in there, and that eel just kept going, taking chunks out of this lobster.
It's bad.
But, I ended up being short on pizza money one night, and, he ended up getting cooked, the lobster.
Okay.
Not the eel.
Not the eel.
Yeah, I'm very anti-eating eel just because I don't like the way it tastes.
I did, and I'm going to lose man points on this, but we go fishing. I think I mentioned this in somewhere way back in like episode 1 or something. We go fishing, and the kids always manage to drag up eels out of the Hudson River here.
Uh-huh.
And I go to unhook it, and that thing just wraps all around your arm and curls up around you. And it's just the grossest thing.
They're nasty.
And for the most part, I just cut the line. And you didn't need that hook anyway. Yeah. I don't care. When he's gone.
Yeah, no, I don't.
They're just gross.
I mean, if you go to England, I'm sure like 90, they have like eel pies and they do the whole thing. That's just not me.
Yeah.
That's not me.
No, I'm going to have to let that go.
Now, one thing we didn't talk about when it comes to spear fishing is harpoons. Oh. Now, harpoons are basically a straight spear with barbs on it. That's not so much used for fishing.
They did get that whale that one time.
Whales, seals, things like that, yes. But when it comes to looking for a trout, no. Harpoons are not necessarily the way to go.
Well, you got to be like some kind of master to freaking throw a big staff like that. And, I mean, yeah, I can hit a whale. Right. I don't think I'm hitting. Oh, there's, there's a 6-inch little bass in there.
Yep, they did say they had found cave paintings in France from about 15,000 years old of pictures of them harpooning seals. So they've been doing that for a while.
So clubbing seals, harpooning seals, either way.
It's all right. As long as they're babies, it's fine. I have no problem with it.
That humor used to be okay. And I feel like in the last 7-8 years, we might have crossed a line where people are cringing at us right now.
It could be.
Going, that guy, what the fuck? Now, let's, are we going to talk about fishing with poles? Is that where we're at?
Let's angling, we'll call it. Any kind of, we're get into fishing with poles, but
pink bobbers, right? Yeah, that float on the water.
Hook, line, and sinker type of stuff here.
All right.
Drop lining. Basically, what that is in deep water, you would use a long line with a bunch of hooks all the way up. You'd have a weight at the bottom and a floater or something attached to a boat or something on the shore.
Okay.
You basically bait all the hooks, drag it out, and just drop it down at the bottom. Drop the weighted end down at the bottom, and wait and pull the whole line back up.
Now this is if you don't have a fish finder that tells you that all the fish are at 27 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't just drop it right down to the 27 feet.
Yeah. Well, and obviously when you pull it up, you can check where the fish are biting and where they aren't. So, you can adjust your bait and your tackle accordingly. Now, trolling. We're not talking about the Russians trying to get your credit card information online. We're talking about trolling is basically when you got a boat moving slow and you have a line with bait on the end. Now, it's also when you have a pole and a reel and you're slowly reeling it in. That's trolling.
Okay.
So that's pretty
Those are the basics.
Standard way of fishing.
Okay.
As far as bait and tackle and angling goes. Now, do you want to talk about specific fishing poles?
No.
And
well,
specific
we'll get into. We're gonna touch broad strokes. Right. What I did want to talk about is where do you find the fish? Now this is something people don't. I guess I grew up. It was common knowledge kind of thing. I mean, I went from being 6 years old to here's the boat, here's where you go do these things and whatever. And you just kind of learn. So it came pretty natural, just because it was what I was around. But basically, fish, bass, pickerel, all your panfish, that kind of stuff, they feed along the shorelines, near logs, near weed beds. You have rocks coming up in the middle of the lake, or there's one spot with some buoys. You always kind of look for the little buoys that are marking rocks and that kind of stuff, because that's where the fish are going to be hanging out. In a stream, fish like to rest downstream of big rocks, and they feed in the more swift water, where food is being carried by the current. So you want to look in those areas. I also hear people in the ocean, same thing. They want to be by something. So when you have those giant oil rigs filling the waters with pollution or whatever, little pieces of Marky Mark floating out in there or whatever's happening. I don't know. There was some kind of an explosion movie. I don't know. I didn't watch the movie. I thought it would upset me. But the fish are going to be there. They're going to be by the structures. They like the big stuff. So that's generally the neighborhood. And believe it or not, you can actually create a habitat for fish near your property or near your dock or whatever, to kind of encourage the fish to come hang out there. Because basically, if it's a nice place for little food to hang out, bigger fish are going to want to come over and eat it. Next, you want to think about when to fish. As a general rule, you want to leave lines out overnight. They actually like to kind of feed during a full moon especially. I know I've had great luck going out on these charter fishing boats when you catch the full moon. I wouldn't think that would make such a difference. But even being right on the day is more of a deal than the days around it. But the days before and after are good too. But that really makes a difference. Kind of blows my mind. You wouldn't think that it would be so, specific like that. You want to go right before it's going to rain. You don't really want to be fishing. Once the water starts getting murky and mucky from a heavy rain, that's when, sprinkling, no problem, you're okay. Right before sunrise is a great time. Again, whenever you want to go out and get out of the house is always a great time to go fishing. But these are, that kind of thing, the ideal. Also, the time of day, conditions, stuff like that. So in the spring, fish are hungry and active, and the temperatures are still cool, so they tend to swim closer to the surface. In the summer, warm weather makes them go deep. Temperatures are more mild during the fall. As things are starting to cool down, fish start preparing for winter, so they'll eat more and kind of bulk up. You kind of get lucky then. Like I said, as long as it's not raining heavily, you should do all right. But once it starts raining, don't bother. It's full on. You're up a creek.
All right.
That's pretty much the basic rules.
Now, when you were talking about fish liking something to hide under, hide by.
Yes.
I was.
You also like to catch your hooks in there.
Yeah. Well, no, I was also looking at some net fishing techniques. They said out in the Nile, they would stitch together palm fronds, big wide leaves.
Okay.
And they would sink a net, and then they would put this mat that floated on top just above the net, and they'd let it sit for a couple hours, and then scoop the net up with the mat in it, and was always guaranteed
a big
fish.
hit.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the thing, that they like the shade. They like the, oh, look at this thing floating, I'm going to hang out.
Now, I saw an interesting one the other day. It was a video on YouTube. A couple of kids in the Amazon. And they had this big piece of pipe that they had found. This big old pipe. And they sunk it down in the middle of the water. And then they would just pack straw on either side, pull it up, and lean it over and take the straw out of one end, and they'd dump everything out into a little pond they had on the side there, where they'd just catch the fish, and then drag the pipe back out and just set it down in the bottom again. I was like, that's pretty.
And I think
pretty
that's
smart
that
idea.
same thing. The critters are looking for shelter and catching them in. I like it. Now there's a lot of creative. I feel like I come across them in like the Facebook feed, and I share the little traps. I've seen some weird eel traps and different things that, we've put on there. But then whenever I go looking for them, I don't see it. So that's always how it works. Another thing, like there's different types of hooks.
Right.
I mean, again, I don't want to get too deep into it. We're not expert fishermen, but like you have like a J hook. This is your more traditional. Then you also have like a circle hook. And these are the ones that just kind of look like they curve back in a little bit.
All right.
That's actually like they usually start out, they call that the circle hook. That one they recommend for like children, people just starting, don't know how to fish, because you don't really have to set the hook as much with a circle hook. The fish kind of just, once they get on it, they're kind of there. Whereas the J hook, you really do. And believe it or not, people who are fishing a lot, actually, like you sharpen that hook. You want it to be, like a razor point. Because you want, as soon as you set the hook, to really kind of dig in. Now, again, those are the basics. So, like you cast out your line, you want to have, so there's not too much slack. Now, I hate to do this. Like, I used to tell my kids, oh, give it a little more slack, because they were always fidgeting and always moving and doing stuff. And it was just...
And it's just jerking things around. It's just
jerking things, like, too much, to the extreme. But technically, you want to have it so that there really isn't slack in the line. It goes out as far as it goes. You don't want to be pulling it in, but you want it to be, like, taut enough where you're going to feel when a fish strikes. Now, I hate to say it, it's time. You just have to spend time fishing to know the difference between a fish nibbling on the line and a fish striking the line. Because you'll get the little bumps, like the little bit, and you're like, oh, did he bite? Didn't he? I don't know. Do I set the hook? Because if you go and set the hook, and that's just basically when you jerk it, and the fish is going to go, oh, something's wrong. That's not right, and they're going to take off. So you got to kind of just like learn that, and that's kind of over time. It's just like all the prepper skills we talk about, where you got to go out and do it.
Right.
You got to go out and try it sometime. Go fishing, spend some time with it. We used to be cool with the no fishing license thing in New York for tidal waters and stuff like that, but they got us there too. So yeah. Now,
the idea for a fishing episode came from Matthias out in Sweden. Now he ought to be doing the podcast because Sweden is the capital, the angler capital of the world.
And I think on his little profile picture, wasn't he all like fishermaned up? And
I'm not sure,
okay.
But
I don't know.
But
I thought I saw that. I'm like, wait, this guy's like Bassmaster and whatever, and now leaves this to us.
When it comes to angling, that's something that most of us have done. Most of us have practiced. It's a reliable way to catch fish.
Yes.
But, what I wanted to talk about really was the fish traps and the nets that we got into earlier.
Right.
In the sense that you can catch large quantities of fish.
Right.
And you can actually...
And feed your babies.
Survive off of it. Right. Now...
The other's just a good time.
Yeah, it's against the law in most places to
go the way we were talking.
Yeah. But, when it comes to being lost out in the wilderness or something like that...
Now,
then
You
these
know what's
other
cool?
ideas are...
In the great state of New York, you can dig a pond, which at that point you have to notify the local government.
Right.
Then you stock the pond with fish, which you
That
have
you
to
buy.
get permission from your local government
Right.
in New York.
Uh-huh.
We stock it with our fish. Then I can fish in my pond without a fishing license if I've met those two criteria. But if you come over, you got to have a fishing license. Nope.
Mm-hmm.
You know, man.
You buy the fish, but you have to pay the government to take it back out.
Let me take that thing back out. Let me grow it, feed it, nurture it. No. Times is hard.
Yeah?
Yeah. The other thing I was going to mention, the size of the hook that you buy. They actually come in different sizes, it turns out. You want to get a hook that's appropriate for the size of fish that you plan to catch. It really does make a difference. The fish will back away if they're like, yeah, it's too much. And I mean, it's just got to kind of be appropriate with the bait. They're not going to get their mouth around it. They're going to end up taking a piece out of the bait. All this stuff matters. You got to kind of just, do a little bit of research and you'll get in there. But hopefully we gave you some good ideas to put some healthy, renewable protein in your diet. And that's pretty awesome.
Now, if any of you guys are experienced... hold on here. If any of you guys at home are experienced like noodlers, I would love to see some pictures of that.
Now, you might want to send those to the Facebook group.
You can post that on our Facebook page.
Post them in there. I'll put it on the page. Or if you want to just send Kevin an email with your YouTube link, he'd be happy to forward that along and check that out. Share it with the people out there. So hopefully we didn't bore you too much with the fish episode. I feel like some new insights were brought out.
Yeah, I actually learned a lot of stuff about
doing the research.
About this stuff, doing the research. Now, I've done a lot of fishing off poles in streams and ponds and rivers, but a little bit of ocean fishing. But really, a lot of this stuff was new information for me. So
I mean, initially, I just wanted to tell fun fishing stories. I mean, I could tell you, I was in Ireland one time, and one of my buddies were out in a small boat. It was like like what you think of as a rowboat. And it had a little motor or something. And sure enough, he freaking pulls in this like, maybe 4-pound shark, 4-foot shark. And we got this thing snapping at the bucket and whatever. And I think we eventually all jumped over the side, got the hell out of the boat. We're like, fuck that. I guess he got somebody's leg a little scratch, And we're like, that's it. We're out. And we ended up like flipping the boat over. So, I don't know. We're a bunch of idiots.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't want to be in the water and flip the boat over with the shark.
I will tell you my greatest fishing story. Well, it was like, I don't know. It wasn't Jaws.
All right.
I think he was just determined to get out of there, but he was pretty pissed off, is what I'm telling you. I think the best fishing story, I was about 8 years old, and I have a brother. Turns out he's kind of a pain in my ass, and he's too cool and wants to go out with his friends, so they take the boat and they go out fishing. So I'm left on the dock with my fishing pole and nowhere to go, and I'm like, that dick, right? So using crawfish, whatever, I'm happy. Sure enough, I catch like a 3-pound bass, which is a good sized bass in, where we fish. And I'm reeling him in and I'm all happy. And I get him and he's just coming out of the water. And like a 3-foot long northern pike comes up and bites the bass. And he's climbing up. He's like right up to, teeth are like to the head. And I don't know what the hell the northern pike is. I never caught one, didn't know anything about it. And I'm shaking that thing off and trying to get him. And he did not want to. I ended up dragging them both in. Was able to pull the bass out. had big teeth claw marks down the side, and we ended up eating both fish, and I was king of the freaking world.
And your
That's
cool
my one
brother,
story.
what did he bring home? Nothing.
Nothing. Probably got a girl or something. I don't know.
It's a little bit better
He
than a
probably
fish.
worked out better. I just got some fish. I don't know. But that's my one story, and now I'm, 30 years later, I'm hanging on to glory. So we've all got one.
Yeah, yep. Now, before we wrap up the show, I was curious if you had seen the Nazi pug.
I've not seen the Nazi pug.
Well, you can check this video out.
All right.
Basically, this guy in Scotland, his wife got this cute little pug that she thought was the greatest thing ever. And so, because he
was a Nazi?
I guess he just hated his girlfriend or was just an asshole in general, he spent 2 years teaching the pug to give the Nazi salute whenever he asked it if it wanted to gas the Jews. So
that's wrong.
So Mi-Chan is the name of the...
You're going to go to hell just for repeating that.
Yeah, Mi-Chan is the guy, is the name of the guy, and he's now in prison. Because apparently in Scotland, that's hate speech.
That is hate speech.
And he went to jail. So, just a heads up, if you're in Scotland listening, don't teach your pug how to give the Nazi salute.
And I have to point out, if you're in Scotland listening, we found that completely offensive.
Yes. It really hurt my heart.
Kevin is crying with sadness. There are little tears he's misting up. That's just wrong.
It is kind of right. It's kind of wrong.
Dude, what's wrong with people?
It's one thing if it takes you 15 minutes to teach your dog some stupid trick, but to spend 2 years
that's a commitment.
Trying to teach it to give a Nazi salute, that's a bit much, man. That's a bit too much investment in that
Did you hear
joke.
there was a DC councilman, and they had him on the radio, and I guess he does some kind of little like podcast on the go that he just talks into his phone and records it and whatever. Right. So he's driving to work or whatever in one of these nor'easters we've been having, and he's going and he's like, well, this climate change, it's the Jews. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, oh, yeah. And then he starts talking about the Rothschilds, and he's like, oh, yeah, they started creating weather control, and now the Jews are doing it, and the Jews are doing this to us. And I'm like, they made it snow in D.C.?
Yeah, that was the Jews, obviously.
That was the Jews.
I have a couple of Jewish friends. They told me they all get together and
plan
they have
out
the meetings.
The weather.
Yeah, plot the weather.
Plot the weather in D.C.
Now, that is entirely untrue. And, I don't think he got any repercussions of that. He made an apology, an official apology. But we'll see when election time comes around, if he lasts or not.
Care. Nobody even...
They'll forget by then.
Oh,
Good stuff.
That's why they don't let me run for city council.
Because you're not anti-Semitic enough?
Well, there's that. I thought it was all the stupid things we've said on this podcast I was referring to. But
yeah, we can never run for public office. You can cut all sorts of stuff out of this show. So if you want to get a hold of us, you can email us at preppingbadass@gmail.com.
Or if you know about some angry America-hating dogs or whatever.
Right, anything
shoot
you want.
Kevin a video.
Noodling. Angling, any kind of fishing you've been doing.
And however you interpret noodling, whatever. Kevin.
Yeah. No, there's certain types of noodling I'm not interested in seeing videos of. Please.
Send Kevin a video. That's what I'm saying.
Check us out on Facebook.
We'll put a link in the show notes.
But basically, Prepping Badass, right?
Facebook.com/PreppingBadass. Or maybe you love us. Maybe you really appreciated this episode. You're like, you know what? I'm going to go buy a freaking can of Nightcrawlers right now and go hit the crick. Well, if that's you and you're like, those guys are great, you might want to head over to patreon.com/PreppingBadass. And show us a little love.
Sounds good to me.
All right. And if you found Kevin's Jew-hating dog story offensive, you want to shoot him an email at preppingbadass@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, stay safe, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.